I want to speak to the belief that we have in our culture here in America that bad things are the cause of inanimate objects, that people are not to blame for bad things. It's obviously external factors. And this belief is anti-productive to what we need to do, which is stop things from happening and fix the problem. So what random thing are you talking about tonight, Nathan? Well, young gentleman out in California went out and went on a rampage this weekend and killed 3 people with a knife, then went out and killed 3 people with a pistol, wounded 11 more, and ran down 2 people with his BMW. And it was called he's called the Santa Barbara Shooter, who went on this rampage. Although he's not called the Santa Barbara Knifeman or the Santa Barbara Beamer Runner Overer, he's called the Shooter. And the reason is because he used a handgun. And at the end of all this, he shot himself in the head and committed suicide. Now, the interesting thing that I find is that we want to blame handguns for all this, and people have come out and screamed about handguns being the problem. Well, if you look at it, California already has the strictest gun laws in the entire United States. In fact, the Brady campaign has come out and said the rest of the United States should be just like California. See how great California is? They have all these laws, but then again, all these bad things keep happening in California, the same bad things that happen in every other major urban area in the United States. And that's because we're focusing on an inanimate object, a symptom. We're not focusing on the disease, the underlying problem. We're focusing on trying to eliminate an object used to do bad things, not the fact that people do bad things. And it's this sense of denial which is so anti-productive. It's focusing on a tool, not the person who uses the tool. Now, let's say that California passes it and says we're going to take away all firearms whatsoever. Well, we've had people who've done horrible things without any firearms. In fact, the most successful mass murderers don't even use firearms. They use other means to commit the mass murders that go well beyond firearms and do far more damage. I don't want to mention any of these uses, but anyone who, let's say, writes a manifesto and researches things like this for 10 months, like this kid did, if he didn't have access to a handgun, he would come up with a plan B that might be far more destructive. Okay? So he killed just as many people with a knife, but we don't hear people screaming about taking away knives or access to metal that could be made into a knife, because that would be silly. Just like I think it's silly to say that taking away handguns would have stopped this kid from harming people, including himself. Once a person becomes suicidal and wants to kill a whole bunch of people and then kill themselves, they pretty much are going to find a way to do that. He had time to write 10 months to write a manifesto. He made YouTube videos about wanting to kill people and put them out on the internet for people to see. His parents were so concerned that they actually sent cops over to do a wellness check on him, and he talked his way out of that. In fact, he had 3 or more separate run-ins with the police in the past 10 months where he had violent behavior and he talked his way out of it with the cops, blaming other people for the violent behavior, not himself. And it's obvious now that he was crazy, but they didn't have enough evidence, so they couldn't stop him. And he took down his YouTube videos, so I guess they didn't see them before they went out to do the wellness check and didn't really know how sick an individual he was, because the cops said he seemed nice and he seemed okay when they talked to him. Then later, shortly afterwards, a few days later, he puts out another video and goes on a rampage. So the point I guess I have is evil is going to find a way. If a person is mentally psychotic and is evil and wants to kill a whole bunch of people and then themselves, they will find a way to do it. Okay? They have that mental state that they are going to find a way to do it. It doesn't matter what tools you limit to their access, they will simply find another tool to do it. Okay? So it's really common that in America we can't admit, we cannot call evil evil. We cannot say this kid is flat out evil and he did an evil thing. We're going to say, well, he had mental problems. He didn't receive the treatment he needed. He didn't receive the right medication. It's not his fault. If we had just taken away his gun, his pointy object, and his BMW, everything would have been okay with him. Well, it wouldn't have been. He would have found a way to do horrible things if you took away his car, his knife, and his gun. He would have found other ways to do horrible things, to lash out at the people he hated before he killed himself. And that's what people just are not willing to accept. The only way that we can stop this sort of thing is through vigilance, okay? You know, if you go to places like Israel where they have to deal with people who want to kill them all the time, the people in Israel don't say that we need to take away the guns that everyone has, and they don't say we need to take away the C4. They say we need to stop the militants. We need to go and fight them and stop them. We need to convince them not to kill us. If we can, it will be great to take away guns and explosives from them, but they're always going to find more. So that's not the cure. The cure is not limiting the armed supply chain. The cure is to fight the enemy and then try to convince the enemy not to attack us. When we fight insurgents, like this shirt shows, when we fight insurgents, we don't say we need to capture the insurgent and convince him that he's on the wrong path. This obviously is a mentally ill person that doesn't know what he's doing. No, we say this is our enemy, he's an insurgent, we need to take care of him. So we're not in denial when it comes to other countries. When it comes to war and when it comes to fighting in other places, the world is not in denial. But here in America, we are in denial. We don't admit that people are evil, and that the only way to protect against it is not to take away objects, but to have people ready to fight against them. Vigilance is the way that we defeat evil. We have to have people that are being watchdogs, who are on the lookout, who are willing to react and stop an evil person. Only good men can stop evil men. Okay? There's no law that'll stop evil. There's no law that is going to be written that a crazy person is going to abide by and thus not do his craziness. He's not going to sit there and go, oh, well, it's obviously illegal to go kill a bunch of sorority girls, so I guess I shouldn't do that. No, because he's insane. So we can't write laws to stop this sort of thing. What we have to do is have people who are willing to stop this sort of thing. I wish that somebody had seen all the red flags with this kid. He's putting out YouTube videos wanting to kill people, his violent actions that escalated that led up to this, which all in hindsight are basically quite obvious what he was working his way up to when you look at all the evidence. But nobody had the authority or the knowledge or could put it all together to stop him. Which, again, it's always hindsight's 20/20, but again, they did not have, there were laws tying their hands. There were laws in effect in that area that kept them from doing what needed to be done to stop this kid when it was apparent that he was a danger to himself and others. So, again, we need to have people ready to fight against crazy mass murderers. We need to have people willing to try to find these mass murderers before they do it and get them the actual help they need. Not to just give them a pill and hope everything is going to be for the best, but to actually get them the help they need. And our society is really, in my opinion, neglects the mentally ill in the sense that we try to sweep them under the rugs. We don't like dealing with them. Dealing with them is hard. Dealing with them is expensive. But again, you know, handing them a pill is easy. Ignoring them is easy, and that's what we've been doing. So again, I guess my 3 points are inanimate objects are not the problem or the cause of this. Taking them away will not stop it. Evil always finds a way is my second point, and then my third point is only vigilance of good men can stand against evil and help to stop it. So thank you for watching.